Hey, bobblehead, you want to make some video? Sweet! So on today's episode of Get Handy, here's a cool little tip that, I don't know, helps me out along the way. I'm not a real big fan of using plastic against the foot, but sometimes you just have to. You need a shoe to change the angle of the foot. And here's a good little way. Plastic pads are a good little way to figure out just how much. Now, while everybody's getting their protractor out, I'm sure there's a lot of scientific ways to come up with this, but the options pretty much are a number 1, a number 2, or a number 3 pad. By the time you bore out a few of these setups, you should have a pretty good idea of just how much wedge you need to put in the shoe. Get some measurements, a good healthy shaped foot, build something handmade. I mean, the fact is, when you hand make it, the options are endless for frog support, heel style, how much degree, roll it a little here, there, or yonder. But for today, we're gonna use a pad. Now, as much as I don't like using plastic against the foot, there's just a lot of options that just make life easier, and that's a fact. But I've never really seen the point in spending a bunch of money on a pad cutter because I solve my problems with steel. The occasional aluminum, but mostly steel. And I am entirely too lazy to drag out that dang bandsaw and drag out an extension cord, and then I gotta listen to it just to end up at the rasp anyway. So, whatever. Here we go. We'll trim the pad up and tack this sucker into place and see if we like what it's doing. And well, that worked out, so let's do the back end. Hey bobblehead, keep making video? Alright. So this is just kind of my typical way of setting up behind. So I'm gonna run in here, I'm a toe clip or no clip kind of guy, and I don't know, today is rounding hammer toe clip day apparently. So pretty much the same deal. I must not want very many resets out of that, but whatever. Knock a clip on the front, set up your toe while you're at it. Oh, hey, looky there, that clip's actually going kind of nice. Well, hell, we got the beginnings of a pretty good video. We may as well keep going. So I put a couple of straightening blows in there between the second and third nail hole before I changed my hammer face angle and follow that branch around the horn working on my boxing. Pretty much the same thing here. I'm refining my boxing on the lateral branch, holding my hammer swing at the angle of the boxing. Now most of the time I tend to flatten my medial heel from the foot surface and then my lateral heel from the ground surface. Oops, I dropped it again. Well, you find I do that a lot. You get used to it. Yeah, my biggest trouble is years and years of cold chewing. Arthritis in my hands is already wrecked. If I discovered that fire earlier in my career, I'd probably still have years left in the easy. If you've ever heard the phrase metal comes to the hammer, this is where it gets to be kind of obvious to see. Because every time you hit the ground surface of that lateral branch, it'll keep getting wider. And we're trying to sweeten up the medial surface of that branch. So if you hit it on the foot surface gets wider while the ground surface stays narrow. I guess you'll have to hit it a few times to see what I'm talking about. I don't know, maybe I'll make another video. Somebody remind me in the comments. Alright, we need a marker, Luke, and a Sharpie and a ruler. In the words of somebody, oh hell, I don't know. If you want it perfect, make it perfect. Well, you got to get it from the hammer to perfect. And you're either going to do that with the hammer blows, a rasp, or a grinder. And so I hate a grinder, and I don't like rasping any more than I have to, so hammer blows it is. It just depends on where they've lived recently.
Yeah, it's all with habits that they pick up with other horses. And
yeah, other barns and stable help and yeah. It all lives or dies around good stable help.
They're freaking out again.
When you're done with your trim,
And
I
then
want
see
it
if
long
back her ass up to the stall door
and
helped
flat.
The stall door, and she went and kicked it,
Okay.
started kicking it, and finally
so-
Lisa showed up, like ran down the aisleway and went in there and grabbed her. And
long
brought
is
her
the
outside. She's
secret,
like, yeah,
okay?
she's
You
gonna
just spent
stay
all your
outside.
time learning to make one short.
So,
Now I want one long. Okay, and then when you trim this, when you make your final knife pass, I want that concavity, or that knife trim to come all the way through the white line. Okay, depth here, short here. Okay, then you find the midpoint of the foot,
okay, thank you.
draw yourself a
Can
line.
you like hang it up on something?
All right.
No, it was.
Very much because I wanted to make sure to bring him in before it started fits.
Fleas any better?
Huh?
Are the fleas any better?
So the width of the foot,
That's my concern.
okay, is
I didn't have any
5 1/8. Goes in the lateral heel.
flies. The flies are just outrageous.
Okay, the width of heels
Like you walk in
3 1/4.
swarms. It was
goes in the medial heel. Okay, from the center, hey, from center to that heel, so that's 5 3/4. Actual foot, okay, not to fit. Okay, and then 5 3/4.
Yeah, he's been in between falling asleep.
Okay, and do you have a soft tape handy?
No.
Grab us a soft tape.
You remind me of. You remember?
Don't measure to fit, measure point to point.
Yeah.
Actual foot is what I'm looking
You
for.
heard anything about Rocky since we sent him to the rehab?
Alright, so that's 14 3/4.
The one with kissing spine.
Yeah.
Hey, come on, quit it. Quit
I
it.
think
So that
I
goes
know
here.
that he went through water therapy. I just
Yeah. I haven't heard anything
Right.
about it since.
Then, I want you doing this to every foot that you hoof prep.
once they have kissing spine,
Okay?
unless
Now,
it's
ask me if I want you to trim it, because I may just have you put these measurements on it without trimming. And I'll trim it.
Which I would have been.
That makes sense? Once your sole prep's done,
Okay.
put these measurements on. Okay?
Like before the actual trim.
Before the actual trim. So do your sole prep, get it ready for me to come in and make my nip. Then put those measurements on, and we'll see how they change. But I want you to take a picture of those and text those to me, because like when I'm at home hand making shoes for this horse, all I gotta do is pull it up, right?
Right.
So the text message needs to have the horse's name
Okay.
with it. Damn it, asshole.